A warm welcome to all the students. As our chapter digestion is completed, so I am starting with the new chapter, that is respiration. In this chapter, we will discuss briefly about the process of respiration, its types, and also very important pulmonary volumes and capacities. So with that, let's start our topic. Respiration. Respiration may be defined as the exchange of environmental oxygen with the carbon dioxide produced in the cells during oxidation at a moist surface. The moist surface can be skin, buccopharyngeal lining, gills and lungs. When the respiration takes place through skin, it is called as cutaneous respiration. If respiration takes place through buccopharyngeal lining, it is called as buccopharyngeal respiration. However, if respiratory organs are gills, then the respiration is called as bronchial respiration. And respiration is pulmonary respiration when the respiratory organs are lungs. Cutaneous respiration and buccopharyngeal respiration takes place in animals such as amphibians. Bronchial respiration takes place in aquatic animals such as fishes, and pulmonary respiration takes place in higher organisms, for example, human beings. Respiration is a multi-step process. It involves the intake of molecular oxygen from the environment, oxidation of food with incoming oxygen. So here you can see oxidation of food takes place, then elimination of carbon dioxide produced in the oxidation, release of energy in small doses during oxidation, and conservation of energy so released in the biological useful form such as ATP. And such type of respiration is called as cellular respiration. Respiration is of two types, anaerobic respiration and aerobic respiration. Firstly, anaerobic respiration. It is the type of respiration through which cells can break down sugars to generate energy, but in absence of oxygen. This type of respiration is also called as fermentation. For example, yeast, they can degrade glucose to ethanol and carbon dioxide without utilizing oxygen. So this is the glucose. It is broken down into ethanol, that is C2H5OH. Carbon dioxide is released and energy is generated. However, in bacteria and parasitic worms, for example, Ascaris and tapeworm, glucose is metabolized to lactic acid, that is C3H6O3, again without the use of oxygen and also without the formation of carbon dioxide. Again, ATP is generated. On the other hand, aerobic respiration is the process of cellular respiration that takes place in the presence of oxygen to produce energy from the food. This type of respiration is common in most of the plants, animals, birds, mammals, including humans. It is further of two types, direct respiration and indirect respiration. First one is the direct respiration. It is the exchange of environmental oxygen with carbon dioxide of body cells without the aid of blood. And this type of respiration takes place mostly in lower organisms, for example, bacteria, protists, sponges, coelenterate, flatworms, and most arthropods. Second one is the indirect respiration. This type of respiration involves special respiratory organs such as skin, buccopharyngeal lining, gills, and lungs, where exchange of gases takes place with the help of blood. For example, crustacean, amphibians, fishes, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Indirect respiration has three phases. First one is the breathing. Breathing refers to the movement that sends fresh air to the respiratory organs and remove foul air from them. Second one is the external respiration. It is the exchange of oxygen from the air in the respiratory organs to the blood and elimination of carbon dioxide into the air. This diagram shows external respiration. Gas exchange takes place between alveoli of the lung and capillaries. This is the alveoli region. From air, oxygen diffuses into the red blood cells. Similarly, carbon dioxide also diffuses into the alveoli region. Therefore, exchange of gases takes place in the alveoli. Third one is the internal respiration. Internal respiration refers to two distinct processes. The first is the exchange of gases between bloodstream and tissue cells via tissue fluid. Here in this diagram, you can see oxygen diffuses from red blood cells to the tissue cells via tissue fluid, and also carbon dioxide diffuses out of the tissue cells into the blood. The second is the process of cellular respiration, from which cells utilize oxygen to perform basic metabolic functions. The process we have already discussed earlier, in which oxidation of food takes place, releasing carbon dioxide, and energy is generated in the process. The energy is utilized in various metabolic functions. Now, coming to pulmonary volumes and capacities, the quantity of air lungs can receive, hold, or expel under different conditions are called as pulmonary or lung volumes. The different lung volumes are first one is the tidal volume, represented by Vt or Tv. It is the volume of air normally inspired or expired in one breath during regular breathing without any extra effort. In a healthy young human adult, tidal volume is approximately 500 ml or 7 ml per kg of body mass. Normally, only 350 ml of air enters the lung alveoli for exchange of gases, and remaining 150 ml fills the respiratory passage. The latter is often called as dead air space because no exchange of gases takes place here. Therefore, the tidal volume consists of 350 ml of alveolar volume and some 150 ml of dead space volume. The tidal volume depicts the function of respiratory centers, respiratory muscles and mechanics of the lung and chest wall. Second one is the inspiratory reserve volume, also represented by IRV. It is the amount of air that can be forcibly inhaled after a normal inspiration. IRV is usually kept in reserve but is used during deep breathing. The normal adult value is 2000 to 2500 ml, and inspiratory reserve volume is also called as complemental air. Third one is the expiratory reserve volume, denoted by ERV. It is the volume of air that can be exhaled forcibly after a normal expiration. The normal adult value is 1000 to 1500 ml. ERV is reduced with obesity or after upper abdominal surgery, and it is also called as supplemental air. So, both IRV and ERV are antagonistic to each other. Fourth one is the vital capacity, denoted by VC. It is the total amount of air exhaled from lungs with maximum effort after maximal inhalation. The value is about 3500 to 4500 ml, and it varies according to the age and body size. It is calculated by summing tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume and expiratory reserve volume. It represents the maximum amount of air one can renew in respiratory system in single respiration. Vital capacity is higher in athletes, sports person, people residing in mountains. It is higher in males than in females and also in young than the old person. VC indicates ability to breathe deeply and to cough, reflecting inspiratory and expiratory muscle strength. Vital capacity is sometimes reduced in obstructive disorders such as COPD and asthma, and always in restrictive disorders such as interstitial lung disease. Smoking reduces the vital capacity of lungs and decreases the capacity for strenuous muscular activity. Residual volume denoted by RV. It is the volume of air remaining in the lungs after forcible expiration. Normal adult value is averaged at 1500 ml. The residual air enables the lungs to continue exchange of gases even after maximum exhalation or on holding the breath. In other words, exchange of gases goes on in the lungs uninterrupted during inspiration as well as during expiration. It is indirectly measured from the summation of FRC, that is functional residual capacity, which we will discuss in the next slide, and ERV, which is the expiratory reserve volume and cannot be measured by spirometry. In obstructive lung diseases with features of incomplete emptying of lungs and air trapping, residual volume may be significantly high. Sixth one is the functional residual capacity or FRC. It is the amount of air remaining in the lungs at the end of normal exhalation. It is calculated by adding together residual volume and expiratory reserve volume. The normal value is about 2500 to 3000 ml. Next one is the total lung capacity or TLC. It is the volume of air contained in the lungs at the end of maximum inspiration. It is equal to the sum of vital capacity and residual volume. The normal value is about 5000 to 6000 ml or 5 to 6 liters. Last one is the inspiratory capacity or IC. It is the amount of air that can be inhaled after the end of normal expiration. It is therefore the sum of inspiratory reserve volume and tidal volume. The value is about 2500 to 3000 ml. So dear students, this is all for today's topic. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay healthy and happy.